What's up guys, it's been a while since I've uploaded a video, but today we're going to change that with a quick weapon rundown for the Galahad update. I can't get any in-game footage at the moment because we're not allowed to record on Mordred, but Elsa has created this beautiful spreadsheet with all the skills on it, so we're going to make use of that. Link down below if you want to check it out. The values might change from now on launch, but hopefully we can get a good idea of the general theme of each weapon and their strengths and weaknesses. So, starting things off with Hunter's Lodge and the Bowline. Multi-Shot, still a great AoE grinding tool, decent in Zerg versus Zerg, probably your go-to Q for most situations. Deadly Shot doesn't really have a place, it's okay for single target grinding in PvE, but apart from that, not very good. Poisoned Arrow is your go-to single target DPS Q spell, it's great for kiting, good for GVGs. That's about it. Explosive Arrows, great for grinding PvE, single target and AoE. Will have some use in GVGs if you just want to pump DPS, but then you're getting rid of your movement skills, so it's a bit risky. Frost Shot, still a great reposition tool, 40% snare, 9 meter leap back on a 10-second cooldown, still very powerful. Speed Shot has been nerfed a little bit, speed buff and duration, but it's still speed buff on a W slot, so it's still very powerful in open world PvP and for kiting. So let's talk about each individual bow. So first up is Bow with Enchanted Quiver. Awesome single target DPS with this, has a stacking resistance debuff. Adds a lot of damage and attack speed, especially stacked with explosive arrows and poisoned arrow. Warbow, magic arrow. This has been butchered. They removed the stun, so the bowline in general doesn't have much utility now. It's more about damage. 10-second cooldown on a magic arrow, so that is quite nice. The damage is decent, but it's very hard to hit the targets you need to hit with it. Light user is always going to be behind the heavies, so getting Magic Arrow onto the squishy backline is going to be tricky. Longbow and Rain of Arrows, still a great choice for AoE grinding in PvE, still a great choice for Zerg versus Zerg. Whispering Bow, Undead Arrows, not as good as just the flat bow line in my opinion. Slightly shorter cooldown on it, but I don't think the attack range and damage is worth it. A Wailing Bow and Demon Arrow. This has got huge potential in Zerg versus Zerg, especially comboed with an Arcane Staff. It'll go through the heavies and hit the squishies in the back for bonus damage. Quite a long cooldown, but the power is definitely worth it. Talk about the Spear line. This is my favorite line this patch. The diversity on the Spear line is incredible. You've got open world ganking builds, you've got tank builds, you've got light builds, you've got medium builds. Like, you can get everything out of Spears. Lunging Strike's a new ability, great for AoE grinding in PvE. Not great in PvP, but the PvE benefits are huge. Spirit Spears, your usual stacking attack speed buff. Great for getting the 3-stack rooting smashes, 3-stack flings, 3-stack spears, that kind of thing. Forest of Spears, awesome AoE damage. It's easy to set up now with all the roots and stuns you get. Charge Blade, still not great. It has been buffed. It's like okay for single target burst, but using it over Forest of Spears, I just can't recommend it. Cripple has a lot of potential for open world ganking if you can time it right and remove someone's sprint, but it is tricky to use with the desync. Spear's Reckless Charge. You charge an area. Good damage now. A lot better than it used to be. It's got a slight knock-up on it now, so you can interrupt casts with it. It's a good choice. Pike Rooting Smash is going to be one of your go-to weapons for ganking. 10-second root. Big burst damage, 15-second cooldown. It's a great ability for ganking. It'll have some play in GVGs, I feel. Glaive and Fling, great reposition tool on enemies. Short cooldown, decent damage, great for tanks to use. Heron Spear, Spear Throw. This is essentially the old Warbow stun. Great range, 30% cooldown, which is to be expected. Good damage. It's just a great ability, and it's on a one-handed, so you can use Warhorn with it to reduce the cooldowns, get more attack speed. It's a great weapon. Spirit Hunter and Harpoon. This is your go-to fishing weapon. Throw it out. Hopefully you hit a light user, pull him back. They're rooted for a long time, 13 seconds at 3 charges, and it does good damage. The spear line in general is just incredible. Nature Staff's still a great choice for healing. Very high mobility, instant cast hots. It's probably going to be your go-to for GVG, but both healing staffs work in my opinion. Rejuvenation, just your single target hot stacks 3 times. Good healing output on this. Rejuvenating Mushroom, still very hard to use with desync, and just aiming it in general is difficult. But if you were pro and you can hit them every time, it would be very strong. In PvE, it's got maybe higher potential than Rejuvenation, just because people are standing still usually. Poison Thorns, even better now in my opinion. Cast time 1 second, strong dot, and now it's AoE as well. Makes AoE grinding a lot easier. Revitalize, good secondary heal, 130 HP with a little hot. Great choice if you need to keep someone alive. Cleanse Heal, awesome for open world PvP. If someone gets hit by a stun, by a root, you just cleanse it off. They pop their sprint and can hopefully get away. Really good for helping people get away alive, or cleansing those big Heron Spear stuns. Protection of Nature, slightly too weak to use over the abilities in my opinion, but if you just want extra resistances, maybe for PvE, if you've got multiple healers, it's a definite option. Nature Staff, Circle of Life, good AoE hot, short cooldown, kind of high mana cost, but it's on the one-hander, so you can use the Tome for extra mana regen, so it's a good choice for GVGs, PvE, open world PvP, everything. Wild Staff, this is more of a Zerg weapon. Big AoE hot on the floor that people can stand in. It's good for topping up raids, good for topping up people in PvE. I don't think it'll get much use in GVGs though. Great Nature Staff, Living Armor. This is probably your go-to GVG Nature Staff. 100 magic armor resist, which is very powerful, and increases healing by 39% for 8 seconds. This is a huge buff for GVGs, open world PvP. It's a great staff in my opinion. Druidic Staff, Spiritual Seed, tricky to use but has potential. It's a big burst heal after 3 seconds, so you're going to have to be preemptive with it, but if you cast it on someone who's running away, it lets them get back into the fight pretty fast after it's procced, so it's got potential for GVGs. Blight Staff, Ruthless Nature. This has got potential. It's a channel with Reflect on it, and it has a good 73 HP per second for 6 seconds, so it's a lot of healing. It'll make attackers worry about hitting you while you're channeling it as well. Can be interrupted, so if the enemy team is on the ball with a sword or a stun or something, they can definitely punish you for using it. The dagger line, in general, okay. Sunder Armor is just your stacking magic armor debuff, decent damage. Assassin Spirit, this is a new ability. It's a stacking buff that increases attack speed and normal attack damage on your auto attacks, but it makes you weaker as well. At 3 stacks, you can activate it again to go invisible for 3 seconds. It's like a interesting quirk of the ability, I guess, but definitely makes dagger poison coating more viable. But overall, I think people are going to be using Sunder Armor. Throwing Blades, it's good in group play if you can hit 3 people with it. Gives you a decent buff, especially move speed wise. Dash, great reposition tool, 8-second cooldown, 11-meter range. This almost makes dagger viable in open world PvP just because you'll be able to catch people with dash. Forbidden Stab, Interesting choice for GVGs if you really need that healing debuff. I think a lot of the time people are going to be using dash, but Forbidden Stab's definitely an option. Infiltration, kind of hard to use. I don't think you'll see it used much over dash, Forbidden Stab, or Throwing Blade. I think they're much stronger choices. Dagger Poison Coating. It's still not great. Assassin Spirit makes it slightly more viable, like I said before, but still not very strong. Dagger Pair Slit Throat. Huge burst damage if you can land it. And lots of people are counting those Thunder Armor stacks these days. So once you hit 3, people are going to be ice blocking, blinking, sprinting away, that kind of thing. So while the potential for damage on Dagger Pair is huge, very tricky to get it off. Same thing with Claws. A lot of people will be watching for that disembowel. As soon as you use it, they'll blink away, jump away, ice block, that kind of thing. Bloodletter, Lunging Stabs. Great choice still. Huge damage if they're below 40%. Large range, 13 meters, and a 20-second cooldown. Probably your go-to ganking weapon for open world PvP. It's got high potential in GVGs with an arcane staff behind it as well. Black Hand's Devastating Strike. This is a weird one. Like, the damage is high, but it's 2-meter range. You knock them back after you punch them. It's kind of really weird. 90 mana cost. I probably can't recommend Black Hands at the moment. Quarterstaffs. These are awesome now. Quarterstaffs are just going to be essential for ganking open world PvP. Catching people, you're going to need Quarterstaffs. It's just so powerful. Good disruption. Great weapon. So Concussive Blow. It's surprisingly high DPS on it, and it stuns after 3 charges, so great tool. Cartwheel is a new ability, great for repositioning in Zerg versus Zerg. You need to get in, you can cartwheel in, it gives you a move speed buff and increases resistances. You need to get out, you can cartwheel out. It's a great tool for that. Empowered Slam, 7-second cooldown, decent damage, slight AoE. It's probably going to be a go-to grinding skill. Stun Run is incredible. 38% speed buff for 5 seconds, and your next auto attack stuns. For catching people on horses, for just catching people in general, Stun Run is just going to be an essential tool in any kind of gank squad's arsenal. Heavy Cleave is going to be great for AoE DPS and PvE. And some kind of burst comps where you've got a stun set up and you've got an arcane staff with you. You can heavy cleave on top. Quarterstaff Forceful Swing. Not the best ability from the Quarterstaffs. It might have some uses. Stops auto attacks and reduces people's damage, but it's not great. Ironclad Staff, Hurricane, awesome ability still. Great for disrupting casters, great for repositioning enemies, either away from your team or pushing them into your team. It's still an awesome ability. Double-Bladed Staff Overpowered. This ability is just the gank king right now. 11-meter range, 15-second cooldown. If you hit them, 50% snare with 230 damage. It doesn't get any better than that for open world ganking, in my opinion. Blank Monk Staff, Fatal Blade. Still awesome choice for Zerg versus Zerg. I mean, it's been nerfed down to 5 enemies, but still catching 5 enemies into a single spot where stuns and AoEs can hit them, it's going to be crucial for Zerg versus Zerg and open world. Soulscythe Tornado, another Zerg versus Zerg weapon. Very strong. 600 damage, which is high for an AoE with a 25-meter range. 80% snare if they're near the tornado, and they get knocked up if they're directly hit. Great ability for Zerg versus Zerg. So that is the Hunter's Lodge complete. Next up, we're going to do the Warriors Guild. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.